Hello and welcome to Davo the Dalek, episode 16, Shoulders Part 3. In the two previous shoulder episodes, I've built the frame and I've built the gunbox, which holds the Dalek arms and is an integral part of the shoulder section. In this episode, I'm going to be skinning it. In Dalek anatomy, the shoulders sit here, between the skirt and the neck, and are the foundation of all Dalek armies.
Head and shoulders, knees and toes.
Here's a glorious shot of the gunbox mounted in position. The next step will be the skin. I won't be gluing the gunbox in until I've got the skin sorted out. That'll be the next step. I need to mark out a template for the skin of the shoulders. It's got to incorporate the gunbox, which I'm building to the side, like I say. To skin this thing, I need a template, which I'm making out of like school project type card that you get from news agents around here anyway. It's looking like the Ukraine flag here at the moment because we've joined red and blue together. This is left over around here from other unfinished projects. I thought it was important to capture this bit of the template making. I've centered the join here of the two pieces right on the upright, and I've cut down to the top here so I can tape these bits into position and then sort of wrap the sides around to get the rest of it in. Okay, I've wrapped that around. I neglected to say earlier that I'm making the skin of this out of 3mm ply, and because of the front angle, it starts off straight and leveled it at the front, but this comes down under the level, so I've got to cut that bit off and cut the front bit off around here to make the template for cutting out the ply. I've marked out inside where I'm trimming, but I'm trimming it off in place so I don't have to put that back because I've got to do the gunbox, right? And I've talked about the gunbox a bit because it is important to get that right. Just the way it pokes through the skin. Okay, my method for this is going to be embarrassingly low tech. I've marked out the area of the skin where I don't want to cut, and here, for example, we've got to have the gunbox gun protruding here. This line I've marked here is this line here. Alright. Cut it flap into it this direction. And since it's only a template, it doesn't matter if I go too far. Always patch it later. Okay, I'll do the same sort of monstrosity to the other side now. Well, here's the shoulders with the template all set and marked out and cut to size. Some extra pieces added on here because it's just so hard to get the geometry right in one hit. But you know, that's what templates are for. You can modify and add and recut out sections as you go. Yeah, so that's the front half, the front skin, and I'll do another one for the back. Now I'll transfer that onto 3mm ply. I'm working on the template for the back half of the skin for the shoulders. I've done that red section, it's all taped in place and cut out. I just want to show you the process I'm using by demonstrating on this white piece here. So that's taped around the front. I'll stretch it around the back, tape it in place, and then trim the top and bottom like I've done on the red here. Here it is with the top and bottom trimmed off the template. Okay. And I can transfer that now onto the 3mm ply I'm going to skin it with. Did I mention that I'm building the skin out of 3mm ply? There are other options like MDF, but I'm really not a fan of MDF and I avoid it when I can. In this photo I've laid out the templates onto the ply ready to cut it out. I'm just cutting it out with a jigsaw, and I leave a bit of an allowance all the way around the lines because I might not get the exact alignment when it comes to fitting the skin onto the frame. The biggest challenge with skinning the shoulder section is bending the material around to meet all the contours and cutouts. I decided to soak the ply in water to make it more pliable. I tested it on a small piece of ply first to make sure the glue wasn't going to delaminate or anything after being wet. And then I used this kiddie pool to do half and half, and I soaked the ply for about half an hour each side. I then fit the wet ply to the frame and held it all in place with clamps and let it dry in that position. There was no glue on it yet, it was just to get it to hold that shape when it came to actually fitting it in. And it held about 80%, I guess, of that curvature when it came time to fit it. I've been making some progress on the gunbox in particular. It's been holding up building the shoulders, got to get the gunbox finished to fit that in there so I can wrap the skin around the shoulders. It's been a bit of a marathon effort. You can see here I've got the bolts in here for fixing the ball joints. I've taken them through the front. Not ideal because you've got to cover that up with filler or something. But with these tight gaps here, that was the best idea I could come up with. You can see I've already had the grind out area there to fit the ball joint inside. Added pieces inside for reinforcing because that's taken like 2/3 of the depth out of the 12mm ply. That's reinforcing inside. Lots of glue, keep it all in place. Have to do that to both sides. But now I'm confident that is complete and I can glue it into the shoulders. All right, I'm down to the dregs of a tube of liquid nails. I'm going to use liquid nails to keep this together. It's flexible, it's strong, it doesn't need to be clamped. In fact, it needs thickness to give it strength. They don't recommend you using this on joints where you're going to clamp the material. Because it's on the dregs tube, this thing is completely blocked up, useless. Doesn't matter, I've got a little paddle pop stick we call them here, or an ice block stick that I'm going to use to spread the glue. And where are we? Alright, so the base of the gun box is going to sit here. Some glue in there. Now this is going to sit in here, so I'll probably apply some on both sides of that. Inside. Make sure I've got good adhesion to the wood. This isn't a glue I tend to skimp on. It's like $5 for a tube of it. Big tube, so you don't need to be precious with it. Fit this at the side. Set that back where it's going to be. And slot her in. Right. Okay. Try and get some down here as well. This will all be out of sight, so it doesn't have to be a neat job. Alright, so that's that part glued. Okay, so I've got the glue around the back there, under that foot, and there's the centre bit. Tied out up well as I can. It is all out of sight, so it doesn't really matter. So glued the centre and the back, but something I've got here is some reinforcing pieces to go in underneath the gun box here. To help support some of the weight on that. I don't think it's going to be too bad, but you've got to have potentially long arms and people pushing on it, so that'll go under there, and same on the other side. There we go. I'll put one in here, one wedge. Just going to do the other one now. So roughly that sort of distance. Poke that in under. Make sure it doesn't stick it past this line, because that line there is the line where the skin will cover it from here over. So clean that up. Clean that little bit up. Oh, that'll be right. Made a mess. Alright, putting the camera down so I can clean that up. So mineral turpentine is the trick here. It cleans up liquid nails really well. I've used it many times to clean up hands and workplaces where I've been too enthusiastic with it. Like I say, I don't hold back. It's dirt cheap stuff, so I just lather it around. So while I'm filming this stuff and building at the same time, it gets really awkward. Sometimes I just basically get the shits with it and put the camera down and don't record, or I don't wear a headset because it gets in the way of trying to do my stuff. So here I'm well into fitting the skin before actually recording it. It was a bit awkward trying to get the skin around the gun box protrusions. But besides that, I basically just followed the same process I did for the templates, and that's lining the very front with the center of the skin and wrapping it back from there. I used liquid nails again for the glue, and I held the skin back with clamps, but they're quite loose. It's just to fold it back out of the way. It's not actually clamping the material hard against the frame. I actually want the skin material to slide underneath the clamp so it doesn't pucker up as I'm nailing it down. Then I worked back from the front, alternating top and bottom to nail the skin in position. And I worked back to the join down the center line of the side, with the corners being fitted last. So again, avoiding those puckers that I was talking about. Then moving on to the rear skin. At least this time I've captured the initial stage where I line and fit the skin to the rear center first before wrapping it around the sides. Now, someone online suggested using heat to bend the ply as an alternative to the wet process, and I thought I'd give it a try on the rear section. I haven't recorded that part, but I did use a heat gun on the curved areas to bend the ply around. The process worked, but I was glad there were no protrusions like the gun box to deal with, because I think it was easier to do that with using the wet process rather than the heat gun. Well, here it is, all skinned in its new skin. Still needs to get finished off with filler and sanding and that sort of stuff, and obviously painting. There's slats to be added to the outside to finish it off completely, and I thought I'd put the arm and gun in there just to finish it off, since I did those in the last 2 episodes. There we go. That's it for this episode. This is my journey to live the dream. Come along with me on my build journey down the wormhole.